As many of you may or may not know, the Smith & Wesson Bodyguard has been one of my all-time favorite concealed carry guns. As a matter of fact, last year I made a video that I have actually, that whole year, I only carried that gun. And the thing is I love concealed carry guns. If I had 20, I'd try to rotate them all in, but it's just something about that gun. I mean, it's the size of a deck of cards. It's incredibly accurate. And there's a lot of things I like about it, but I'm not going to get into that quite yet. I want to take a moment and talk about the Bodyguard 2 first. Now, the only complaint I had about the Bodyguard, it was my only complaint, incredibly accurate, incredibly concealable. The only complaint I had was the capacity. And the capacity was really, you're dealing with 6+1. Is one more than a revolver is going to give you. And I was fine with it, honestly. I was totally fine with it. Until the Ruger LCP Max came out. Now, once the Ruger LCP Max came out, I actually bought that gun. And then I carried it for a bit. But it wasn't nearly as accurate. Not even close, not even close. I'd rather have 6 accurate shots than 10 inaccurate shots. And that's really kind of what it came down to, was I got rid of the LCP Max, and I know a lot of you are like, oh, I have it, I love it. It wasn't as accurate, my experience, not nearly. Like, there's a video of Jerry Michalek drilling a steel target over 350 yards with this tiny little Smith & Wesson Bodyguard 380. So I know what it's capable of, and I've experienced that myself. So I got rid of the LCP2, and I just kind of was like, come on, Smith & Wesson, come on, double stack this thing, man. And then came about the Bodyguard 2. And a lot of people reached out to me. I hadn't even heard of it, honestly. A lot of you reached out to me and said, oh, have you tried the Bodyguard 2? Have you tried the Bodyguard 2? Because I think a lot of people know this is my gun. I love the Smith & Wesson Bodyguard in 380. It's my favorite, still is my favorite. And I really wanted the Bodyguard 2, really wanted it. But here's the problem. I will not be buying the Bodyguard 2. I'm not. Nobody sends me free. I mean, occasionally, in my whole life of making videos, I bet I've gotten 6 free guns. I don't get a ton. Most of the guns I review are either my guns, or I borrow them from somebody, or sometimes I'll buy a gun and then I'll take it in and trade it for another gun, that kind of thing. But you always lose money on that. And right now, everything's more expensive. Make less and everything's more expensive. You put those two things together, there's not a huge budget for guns just to check them out. And the problem, if this was a gun I was going to carry, I would go buy it. I'd go buy it today. But I'm not going to carry it. I'm not going to carry that gun. And everybody's talking about how great this gun is. This is the best CCW out there. Here's my problem with it. And this is only my problem. Please hear what I'm saying, that this is me. I'm a work in progress. But the Smith & Wesson Bodyguard, the original one, the one that I carry, every single shot is double action only. It's like shooting a revolver. I love that. I love it. I don't need a manual safety. It's got one, but I don't need one. I leave it off. I don't think I've ever put it on. I can absolutely stage that trigger to get as accurate a shot as I'd like. And I could pull and shoot, just pull and shoot, pull and shoot, pull and shoot. The new Bodyguard is not the same Bodyguard. It's the same name, but it is a totally different gun. It's a totally different gun. It fits the same niche for Smith & Wesson, so they gave it the same name, but it is not the same gun. Not even kind of the same gun. The problem that I have with the new Smith & Wesson Bodyguard 2.0 is that it's striker fired. This is a pocket pistol. This is a gun that I often carry in my pocket. Or I might carry it in a small bag, or I might carry it in a tiny little holster. Like, I have a pocket holster. I don't put it in my pocket holsterless, for the record. But I'm still just stuffing it in a pocket. I'm throwing it in a bag. I'm throwing it in a backpack. I'm throwing it here. I'm throwing it there. I'm throwing it there. I'm throwing it there. And I am absolutely certain that double action only gun is never going to go off. It will never go off. Never. I will never have an accidental misfire with that gun. The new Bodyguard 2.0, not so much. It's a striker fire pistol. And, you know, again, I'm a work in progress. A lot of people have no problems carrying a striker fire pistol. I'm not one of those people. I'm just not one of those people. Now, and again, I'm a work in progress. Trying to holster it and catch it on some clothes and you shoot it, that will never happen with a double action trigger. Never happen. Never happen. And a lot of you might think, well, that's just you being way too precautious. But you got to think, you know, most of where I carry and have carried for the last several decades, I was a teacher. You know, so just throwing that out there, that I was not about to have an accidental misfire. So I grew to appreciate at least a first pull double action only. You know, my favorite kind of gun is a double action single action. But I like a double action only gun as well. And so again, this is just my own personal thing. Like, it's just me. I'm not buying the Bodyguard. You know, if somebody gave me one, I would definitely test it, but I'm not dropping $400 to test a gun that I'm certain I'm never going to carry. Like, I'm never going to carry that thing. And the other problem with it is, like, it comes with or without a manual safety. So you might say, well, get the manual safety one. But I don't want a safety. Like, I want to be able to pull and shoot. I want to be able to pull and shoot. And I want that first shot to be a double action. That's what I like to carry. That's safe. It's effective. If you train, it's just as good, if not better. Because someday I'm sure I will test the Bodyguard 2.0 because I'm curious about its accuracy. I'm very curious about it. But I'm just not going to buy one. I'm just not going to. Like, I'm not going to, like, I'm kind of at that phase in life where, you know, the kids are grown. We've got 3 in college. We got 1 getting married next year. We got, you know, like, my wife's trying to retire soon. Like, I'm not dropping $400 for a gun that I am certain I will not carry. You know, again, most of the guns I test are usually other people loan me guns, or that kind of thing. Or if I buy a gun that I know I'm going to carry, I'll test that gun. Or I'll buy that gun and test it. So I just want to share it. Again, it's my own thing. I'm the only guy probably on the whole internet that's like, I'm not going to carry that one. Everybody else is like, oh, I love this gun. I love it. But I'm just being honest. It just isn't for me. I would like to have the original Smith & Wesson Bodyguard with the double stack. That is not what they did. They did a totally different gun, essentially a tiny micro Smith & Wesson shield is ultimately what it is, tiny little thing, and made it a double stack and called it a Bodyguard. But it's not at all what I was asking for. And again, they're not listening to me anyway. Not like they're going to make me a gun, you know. So I hear you. Everybody's going to disagree with me. They're going to say, well, you got to go with the technology advancements and that sort of thing. But I'm just saying, for me, I will not be carrying the Bodyguard 2.0.